Hello, my name is Ben Stanton from S4 Solar. I just wanted to go through this grid tie solar power guide that we have and explain a few points and elaborate on a few points that might help with your understanding of the system. I think it's very important to understand that grid tie solar power is now a very good investment. Up until about 4 years ago, solar technology and solar prices in particular had been technology improving slightly, but the prices have been coming down, but only slowly. And it's in the last 4 years, since the recession really hit, that prices have plummeted. Now, there's been a couple of reasons for that. One is that the Chinese government basically sponsored the manufacturing of solar panels through the recession with their 5 largest panel manufacturers, and this has seen a bit of a glut on the market. And so now there are panels that have been stockpiled that are being released onto the market, and this has pushed prices down. Also, due to the recession, we have governments worldwide who are now pulling back on subsidies of the product. And of course, when you get a subsidy of a product, it artificially inflates its price. So the fact that they've pulled back on those subsidies has dropped the price as well. So we've seen in the last 3 to 4 years a dramatic drop in the price of solar panels, and it is starting to level off again into probably a more steady decline. So I would predict that we would see probably drops of around 5% perhaps per annum in solar panel pricing. Now, another thing to consider when it comes to investment is the relocation guarantee. A lot of people want to put solar in and realise that it's a big investment, but also have in the back of their mind, but perhaps they won't be in the home to see that investment out. So we offer a relocation guarantee. It's effectively what this means is that we can, at your request, come and remove the whole system from your home and reinstall it into your new home. So you take the investment with you. If you don't want to do this, the whole system does add value to the property. Now, this is obviously still somewhat in the eye of the beholder, because some people don't see the value as much as others. However, it has been proven, research has been done, and it has been proven to definitely increase property value, and generally by the amount that has been invested. So here's a very basic diagram of how the system actually operates. For a start, you have solar panels mounted on your roof. These generate electricity, and that electricity goes into the inverter. Now, the inverter shown here is a 4 kilowatt inverter, and that converts the DC current from the panels into AC current, which is able to be used in your home. So the inverter is then wired directly into your switchboard, sometimes into the meter board depending on the electricity provider, and the electricity that is made and generated from your solar array through the inverter is then available for use in your home. Now, the inverter is a pure sine wave inverter, and it links in and syncs with the incoming mains power. and provides a seamless and pure power. So any appliance that can be used on the incoming mains can be used off the inverter. There is no way of even telling that the inverter is running. You will not notice any difference whatsoever. Now, if you are not in your home while the sun's shining, you may be out working or you might be away on holiday, the power is not going to be used so much in your home, and so it is then pumped back into the grid. And you've heard the term selling the excess back into the grid. Well, yes, Meridian Energy will give you a one-for-one feed-in tariff for the power that you push back into the grid. But effectively, that's only to the point that you are using more or the same as what you're generating. As soon as you start generating more than what you're using, they then consider that to be a commercial venture, and they may only pay you a wholesale rate for that power. That's at their discretion. So some of the benefits. Obviously you make your own electricity every day, and it's not technically free until the payback period is completed. Now, when I say it's every day, it is every day, even if it's raining. If there is light, then your system is creating electricity. And generally on a heavily overcast day, it will produce around 10% to 20% of its maximum rated output. And of course, as power prices increase, the price of your return increases as well. Basically because your system will produce X amount of electricity every day and every year, and that electricity will remain the same. The value of that electricity increases as power prices go up. So your asset is producing more and more every year. Currently power prices are going up at 7% per annum, but it looks to be increasing at a greater rate shortly. These are very low maintenance, so the maintenance required is essentially just to keep them clean, and we recommend that before each summer you would get somebody on your roof with all the necessary safety equipment and just run a hose with a light brush and get rid of any dust or pollen off the panels. And then once every few years, check the back of the inverter to make sure that the cooling fins are still allowing airflow. There is a possibility of future carbon credits, although these are probably going to be taken care of the fact that you are not buying electricity, so carbon tax will be added to cost of electricity in the future. And there's also a full upgrade path for future protection, which basically means if your network area starts having issues due to overloading, maybe 10 years down the track there's been a subdivision put in and they haven't done their calculations right and the mains cable starts falling over, the retail customers can sometimes actually be asked to cough up for new cables, or can be forced to reduce their consumption. And in some cases there are consistent and annoying power cuts. So our system allows you to put the batteries and a battery inverter in the future and disconnect completely from the grid if you so wish to do. Okay, I'd just like to make a quick note on this one here that you can see these panels here in the background. This system is actually an off-grid system. Now the reason we mount the panels out and on this bracketing system here is because on an off-grid system, you want to get the absolute maximum out of the midwinter sun. So you'll notice those panels are up on quite a high angle, and they're also, actually in that picture, they're actually facing dead north. That is so that in the middle of winter, this customer has the maximum amount of power. The rest of the year, the system is basically calculated for midwinter. The rest of the year, she's just making excess energy. This is not a grid tie system, so this is an off-grid system. So we will not be mounting panels on tilt brackets or mounting them out like some big wing off the side of your house. They will be mounted directly to the roof. In a grid tie system, the angle of the panels is not as critical as in an off-grid system. For example, if you were to mount panels directly north at 22 degrees, you would get the maximum output from those panels for the average of the whole year. However, if you mount those panels at 60 degrees west or 60 degrees east, off north, 60 degrees either way, you would only lose around about 4.5 to 5% of the output of those panels. So it's not a lot of loss when you compare the extra cost of installing a massive bracketing system. Generally, we will account for that loss of energy by adding a couple of extra panels if you wish to do that. I have already explained the relocation guarantee and the upgrade to the full system. Right, here is a graph. It's a good graph. The first thing I'd like to point out is that this is for a $16,000 investment. Now, generally your system will cost less than that to install for a 3.3 kilowatt system. However, we like to take a no surprises approach. I will explain the pricing later. Based on $16,000 investment, there is a 9-year payback period. So after 9 years, your system has returned or saved you the amount of electricity that amounts to what you invested in the first place. Essentially, over those 9 years, you're looking at around about 11% return on investment. Now, 11%, as you know, is a lot better than money in the bank. The first year, you will save nearly $1,200 in power. The second year, you will save just over $1,200 in power, because each year, and this is the reason that this curve is actually a curve and not a straight line, is that each year power price increases by 7% per annum or thereabouts. So we've taken a 7% per annum increase, taken the NIWA data for sunshine hours. It may not be deadly accurate for your area, but it gives you a very good idea. After 20 years, your return on investment is $40,000. That's how much energy you have actually made yourself, and that's how much power you haven't had to buy from the grid. And the life expectancy of these panels is over 30 years. And so the returns on that are huge. So I'd like to stress that it is very important that you get good quality panels installed. The panels are the highest proportion of the outlay of your system, and our panels come with a 10-year manufacturer's warranty and a 25-year power output guarantee, and they are a high quality product. We could buy cheaper products from China, but we don't. It's not worth it. I want our customers to reap the best benefit, and if your system were to fall over here in year 22 down the bottom here, you would have made $44,000 on a $16,000 investment, but if it lasts for 30 or more years, your return on investment is absolutely huge. So please, don't sacrifice the possibility of another 10 years of investment for the sake of maybe $2,000 or $3,000 savings by buying cheaper panels. So to sum up, we've got moderate investment and maximum energy return. And unlike a hot water system, if you get a solar hot water system installed and you go away on holiday, all that time that you're away on holiday, you lose the energy that is captured by the sun. The system has to vent that off as steam, and because you're not using the water and you can't pump hot water back into the grid. Whereas you go away on holiday with a PV system, it will generate electricity and it will pump that straight back into the grid, wind your meter backwards like crazy until you come home and start using it again. Okay, so here are some prices. Now these, as I've said before, are a no surprises pricing systems. We would rather you are comfortable with the prices that you see here, and then when we come and install or we come and talk to you about your system, we can give you a fixed price, and or we can install based on an hourly rate, and it will come out either less or the same amount, but we are not in the business of giving you a low price and then halfway through an installation making up some story about why it's going to cost you more. We want you to be happy. So this is the most common system that our customers install. It's the 3.3 kilowatt Freedom Fighter. Okay, so now this system here, for 15,700 installed, or thereabouts, can produce up to 4,995 kilowatt hours per year. Now this may vary depending on your region, okay. This delivers an 11% return on investment, and that is over the first 10 years. The reason that the 3 kilowatt system is the most common is because of three reasons, I'm guessing. One is budget. $15,000 is not a huge whack out of someone's budget. The other is economies of scale. If you look at the 2 kilowatt system, we are looking at $13,000 installed. The 1 kilowatt is $9,000 installed. So not a big drop for a large drop in power. And the other is that most people will have around about 24 or 25 square meters available on their roof. So it is also a good physical size system. Now, one system that I haven't got here is the 6.6, which is halfway between the 3.3 and the 9.9. The reason we go to 9.9 is because the largest distributed generation system that you can install on a domestic home is 10 kilowatts. When you go over 10 kilowatts, you have much larger application fees and you drop your feed-in tariff to a wholesale rate. Well, look, that's it for me, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this, and I would be absolutely rapt to be able to help you install a power system for your home and help you save some major money on power. please feel free to give me a call. You can call me on one of those numbers there, or you can also call me on my cell phone number, which I will put in here. It is 021 75 0024. Now, that you can get me direct, you can text me, I will call you back. I'm quite happy to travel and come and view your home and measure it up and even talk to you about any other questions that you may have. Look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you.